And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching Bridgerton, Season 2, Episode 3.
A bee in your bonnet.
I like this show a lot. It's very pleasant. It's very nice. I like that it is old-timey without being inaccessible. It's just the right amount of flourish on their ways of speaking and the old-timey words. It's like we have to deal with words like modiste, but we don't have to deal with word. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not like overwrought or like
henceforth.
Yeah. But I do really like it. It's also very standard, and I say that as a bonus. I was having a conversation with our friend Keely over on Twitter, and she was sort of like, why does everything have to be so like subversive and like reinventing the wheel and all that? Why can't we just have like good old fashioned melodrama? And
I'm not watching Bridgerton to be challenged. I'm watching Bridgerton to watch two people fall in love.
Well, and it does challenge, and it's in a different way, in its own unique way that is just so I don't know. It makes me feel cozy.
Yeah.
I really we talk about this probably anytime that we talk about something, period. But I'm like, wouldn't it be fun to like LARP, to like have a retreat for like a week where we could go off and play this? And this gives me that.
Yeah, agreed.
This episode especially, because it was the entire Bridgerton family went to the country house. And have you been waiting?
Yeah.
Oh.
So much stuff happened in this episode, and then some things didn't happen exactly like I wanted them to.
That seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to start off with the C plot. I was going to say, so I definitely followed it, but what precisely was going on with Penelope and Madame Delacroix?
So
I know she saw her in the bad side of town.
Yep.
But how does recognize someone in the bad side of town mean their lady whistled down?
Well, so they had like a really sort of roundabout conversation around the middle of the episode where she was like, well, maybe I didn't see you either, and maybe you didn't see me, and I don't care what you're up to, but I kind of know what you're up to. And it's like, it was like they kind of like knew.
Okay.
It just let it happen.
I'll allow
this is
it.
also, I'm out of my depth with this because this does not happen in the books.
Well, because we also don't know why Madame Delacroix was there.
No, but she doesn't need an excuse.
Well, she was very secretive about it when...
but I mean, she's also...
I think she was doing something
Of course she was doing something weird, but like, she had... If Penelope
So what you're saying is Penelope showed her hand in an attempt to cut the situation off, and also she needed help.
Exactly, because at the end she was like, I have reached a point where it is too difficult for me to continue as I am, and I need help. And then she like wrote a nice piece about the modiste, Madame Delacroix, and she was like, I can help you. Will you help me in return? And she basically was like... And
they have a good rapport. I think that even was in the first season, was it not?
They didn't talk a ton in the first season.
I remember the Featheringtons having a back and forth relationship.
Well, because they couldn't pay their bills. Yeah. It's not a good... But I think the thing about the Featheringtons is that everybody kind of likes Penelope because the rest of them are so terrible, and Penelope is nice and like out of the way, kind of.
So that was the thing I didn't pick up on, was that Penelope showed her hand.
Yeah, a little,
like strategically.
Yeah.
I thought that she was like, you got me.
No, not entirely, but she just was like, here is who I am. I need your help.
So she can presumably get more information, and also she has someone who can run some of the trickier errands.
Yeah, so probably like Madame Delacroix, since she goes to that side of town anyway, she'll be able to like drop stuff at the printer for Penelope.
Okay.
I'm interested in it. I kind of dig it. Like I said, I don't believe that anybody else ever finds out about Penelope in the book, but I'm interested.
So Jack was sort of continuing his courtship of Cressida.
Yeah.
They had a dinner. It was really awkward.
Yeah.
It was...
The Cowpers are... Because here's the thing, too, is like we've been with the Featheringtons so long now that I have sympathy for them, even though Porsha is like horrible to the girls and like Prudence is stupid and doesn't understand that she's being manipulated.
It's very big Cinderella energy.
Big Cinderella vibes,
Cinderella
for sure.
energy.
But it's sort of, I get to the point where I'm like, okay, like let's move along. Because also I just like, it feels like they're forcing content for Cressida.
And if they're going to do that, we need to layer her.
Yeah, because right now she's
just a shade.
She's just a bitch. And so Penelope rightly was like, her indecent dress.
Vulgar.
From the new modiste. I liked that quite a lot.
It was very pink.
It was the color was great, but yeah.
Loud though. They're usually a little bit paler.
Yeah.
But so Porsha was trying to hoist Prudence on Jack.
Yeah.
It didn't go very well. Do we think that's ongoing, or are we done with that?
I don't really know. I'm interested too. I don't know.
It was weird when Prudence was like, but we're cousins. And I'm like, first of all, not such a problem in that day and age.
1814. And then second of all, then Porsha was like, you're fourth cousins. And I was like, girl, hitch your cart.
Spare me your middle class morality.
Please, come on.
Because she was like, royals do it all the time. I don't know. It felt a little like half a plot.
Royals do it with first cousins. Come on.
So the whole rest of it was Antony's continued courtship of Edwina.
Yep.
Whew. Because I was like, this isn't fun for Edwina. And you were kind of like, oh, in the books, it's nothing. And it's like, they're making it something in the show.
They are really making it something.
She's so sweet.
She's so sweet. And here's the thing is like, I don't mind her actually being into Antony. That's totally fine. Where I'm having the problem is they're really victimizing her in a way that like she really laughs everything off. It just off like a duck's back, water on a duck. Like,
well, I like it because she's the only person who seemingly is unaware of the dynamic between him and her sister.
Yeah.
So it's like she's internalizing it where she's like, what am I doing wrong?
And then you pinpointed it exactly because like all of the Bridgerton siblings are conspiring because they are all not stupid and they can see that Antony is into Kate and not Edwina.
Well, through this episode too, because Daphne, I like Daphne so much more as a side character.
It's interesting,
than I liked her as the main character.
Yeah.
Because I liked when she asks, she's like grilling him a little bit. And she's like, so you love her? And he literally replies with, she's perfectly pleasant.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's not.
No. They can all see it. And in the books, so can Edwina. She sees it too. Mm-hmm. And so I don't love this like narrative of victimizing the baby sister because I can just smell there being a scene where Edwina is like furious with Kate, and I don't want that.
Maybe.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's not, like I said, that's not a factor for me. I like it because I think it's giving her material.
That's true. It is giving her material, which is welcome.
And I like these two girls. Simone Ashley is stunning.
She's so pretty.
There were so many close-ups in this episode, especially with the bee. So I don't remember. So clearly their father died 10 years ago. He wasn't in the first season. No. Okay, but they talked about it.
He was mentioned here and there.
It felt a little bit hoisted upon us in this episode in that way that we sort of refer back to something like Once Upon a Time, where they're like, here's a plot contrivance and here's a flashback as to why that's important. However, I think they did a pretty good job with this.
I will also say that it opens the book in a way that now we're 3 hours into this television show. And so it is, and also apologies if they are about to do it, but it feels like this would have been the episode. They have changed. I guess he kind of said it to Violet when they were sitting at Edmund's grave. The reason he is trying to get married right now is because his father was 36 when he died, and he does not, or 38 maybe, he does not believe that there is a universe where he could possibly live longer than his father. So he wants to get married.
In this show.
Dude, tell me about it. He wants to get married so he can have babies so he can pass on, like teach someone enough before he
is
inevitably dies at the age of 38.
I mean, I kind of love it.
I mean, so that's why he's like, I don't want to be in love, which is what he tells Violet.
It's a more
slightly more cerebral
version of.
Oh boy. So yes. So basically that is his whole deal this season, and
it was ham-fisted, but I think ultimately it was done well. And I would say Jonathan Bailey has been very good, but the MVP of this episode, and I think why the plot worked, was Violet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think She's always been...
I've got chills right now.
Oh, okay.
I love her so much.
She's always been good, but it was like, I think she did the heavy lifting in allowing me to accept this thing that was just sort of like, now here's what you missed on Glee. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to find her name, the actress. Ruth Gemmell. She's so great. Well,
she's not a flashy character.
No, she's not a flashy character. She's not really a flashy actress, but she's also just like so beautiful in like a motherly way. I love her.
It's the Peter Pan. It's the kiss.
Yeah. Oh God, she's so pretty. And
like, she didn't overplay the scene where he was like trying to get her to come out of her like grief shell.
Yep.
And that could have been overwrought in a way that I like I said, I think that this plot, I think she did the heavy lifting.
I definitely agree. And I love that too. It was a little bit different, which I like. And I know someone's going to give me shit about keeping on comparing it to the books, but
there are people who are book readers that are looking for these conversations.
Sure. In that case, then fine. I ended up liking it, but at first I was a little bit annoyed because Anthony just comes home and Edmund is dead. He like comes home from being like away and Edmund has died like that afternoon and Daphne tells him. But I did kind of end up liking that he was present when Edmund died.
Well, I think it allows him to take it so personally. Whereas if it happened when he wasn't there and he just came home to it, I could, like, obviously he still would have been gone through a hefty amount of trauma, I think, because I won't actually spoil it, but there was a similar thing in the show Yellow Jackets where I was like, they pulled a stunt where I was like, oh, wow, I really like that this was nature, that it was very, you know, the word I used was gentle.
Yeah.
And it's like, because he gets stung by a bee. And in my mind, as it was happening, I was like, surely not. Because I was sort of like, that can't be the first time you've encountered a bee, but...
No, in fact, it's a point in the book that he was stung once before when he was younger, and nothing happened. And so it's sort of like a...
Could have been the type, I guess.
Could have been the type of bee, could have just been... But you can be fine one time and be allergic the next.
You can develop allergies.
Yep.
I had a friend who developed an allergy to, like, meat or something, and she had a Lunchable on a boat and almost died.
No, God.
It was like overnight.
Horrible.
So, but no, I did like it, and I like the sort of it's part of, I think, the appeal of period pieces like this.
Yeah.
That something that we like, and yes, that still happens today. It still is a common occurrence that somebody has an allergic reaction to something.
Yeah.
But we have
medicine,
more of an understanding of it, and frequently knowledge does wonders.
Yeah.
And Anthony just had no concept of what was happening. And also it was like this underlying thing that he didn't realize he was having, as evidenced by the scene with Kate. And I do love that she, and I think it's the part that is their chemistry, that is the budding romance, that though she didn't understand, she didn't understand his reaction, she understood that
the panic.
Yeah, and sort of was like,
well,
she was like, buddy, are you, what is happening? Like,
we are potentially having a mirrored scene in the next episode.
Okay. I think my guard was up a little bit because I knew the show was going in this different direction. So I think they felt a little bit insisted upon me in the first few episodes.
Okay.
And it feels more earned now. I'm more, because I was charged. I like sat up when they were so close.
Yeah. Okay, his eyeballs in that scene. You can see the whites all the way around them. He was so scared. Okay, the pall-mall game. I love it. I've been waiting for that since I finished reading the books. Because it pops back up in all the other books too. They like mention it a couple times in the rest of the books.
I agree. Simon should have been there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
He just should have. But I did love that they like it gives so much more color to the Bridgerton siblings because they present as being such a perfect, beautiful family. And they're like actually just hilariously ruthless with each other.
I was fond of Eloise in the first season.
Yeah.
But she also felt a little bit insisted upon me. Mm-hmm. She's kind of a trope.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was like, I think in the first season, she felt a little bit like a box that needed to be checked.
Sure.
And I am way more there here. And
Her,
I loved her scene with Kate.
Yes, it was really cute. And also after hearing Kate talk mad shit about English tea, I loved watching her put her like chai spice or whatever the little satchel she had was and brewing her tea over top of it. super funny. But yes, I thought that scene was really great because she basically was like, did you choose to be a spinster? Because I'm interested in the life. What can you tell me?
But I don't like. I think at first Kate was offended, where it was sort of like, "Excuse you," and then it was sort of like I
get it.
This is awakening something.
Yeah.
So I
really
definitely like that, and I think I'll say it again. The Claudia Jessie, I think she's very talented.
Yeah, super talented
to pull that character off. And we almost got through this without talking about Benedict's vision quest.
So I guess Colin gave him like ayahuasca or something, and he like was like, just a pinch will do. And then Benedict is so put out because he's applying to the Royal Academy for Arts or whatever. And he just upends the entire bag of powder into his tea, and then he is tripping balls at dinner. It was so funny. And then he got in.
Yeah, and he painted. It was pretty.
It was actually pretty cool. Yeah, with his
painting.
fingers. Yeah, it was really pretty though.
So, okay. Well, I think that's pretty good for episode 3. So we're gonna go watch episode 4, and we'll be back.
Bye.